All right, everybody, welcome to Get Rich by Working Your Farm. Learn the most effective ways to zone in and cash in on your farm. And if you were wondering, I am not going to talk in my farming accent the whole time, but I just thought I'd get it off the ground like this. So, hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Those of you who are fathers and parents on the call, hope you guys had a fantastic day and a great weekend. Got lucky with some decent weather, so hope you guys had some fun. Farming's a thing that I'm passionate about. When I got into real estate in Florida, I actually worked for someone who was a big farmer. And my entry-level job to get my foot in this person's door was helping to create and send out 25,000 pieces of direct mail every single month. So I spent, I don't know, I would say 6 or 8 months just dealing with farming and mailers and building out neighborhood pages and connecting farms for a while. And as I will tell you, I always thought it was stupid because I don't like direct mail and I wasn't really into working neighborhoods, but we would get what we called come list me's literally every single day from all different farming activities. And it's something I grew to kind of have a passion and some fun about. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about farming. Number one being that it can only be geographic, and number two being that it can only be direct mail. So I wanted to break that down today and share it with you because it is something that I like and that I do still think is alive. So thank you to KOR for designing all of our slides, all of our marketing, all the GIFs you see, all that fun stuff. If you need anything, reach out and I will connect you guys to her and she can make all that stuff for you guys as well. A little bit about me. Most of you guys already know me, but if you don't, my name is Ryan McHugh. I work with Trident Title, Performance Title, and Synergy Title, and my job is to enhance your real estate business because we know if we help you build your business, you in turn are going to help us build our business. So I do these classes every Monday. We do another one with our attorney, Paul Krasker, every Thursday. And then I am available for one-on-ones and group coaching and group training just to help you guys grow your business. So if you do need help with something or you want to learn more about any of the things that we cover, reach out to us at Trident Title, Performance Title, and Synergy Title. I have all of our fantastic coworkers and partners of mine on the call. Melissa Kidwell, Tracy Sender, Gabrielle Bryce, Dave Ward, John Weber, Chrissy's on the call. So if you need anything or you need some extra help growing your business, I'm not going to pretend to know everything about the back end of title. However, I can definitely help you grow your business. So if you need help with anybody doing that, reach out to whoever got you on this call and we'll set something up. A lot of you have already done a bunch of one-on-one stuff with. So thank you all for being on the call. A little bit about Apex Training. We started this a little bit before the COVID breakout just to do exactly what we're doing now and exactly what we just said, help you guys grow your business. And we know, again, if we help you grow your business, you're going to help us grow ours by sending us the title deals. So without Trident, Performance, and Synergy, this wouldn't be possible. So all of you that have already sent us deals, we really appreciate that. We've had a pretty fantastic couple of months here while everything has been a little bit questionable, thanks to all of you guys. And for those of you who have not sent us a deal yet for whatever reason, I know it's coming, so send them on over. All right, let's dive in. So our agenda today, we're going to cover 4 main things. At the end of this one, there's 1 or 2 things I'm going to share on here that I have a feeling a lot of you guys are going to want. And if you end up wanting that, one of them is a spreadsheet for calculating and creating farms. If you guys do want that, make sure you reach out to whoever got you on the call. So if it was Melissa or Dave or Gab or Trace or myself or John or Chrissy, whoever it was that made you get here or got you the registration, reach out to them and I will get you guys this spreadsheet if you're interested in farming. It's a big help. It makes life a lot easier. So we're going to cover 4 big things. Number 1, real quick, what is farming? Number 2, quick also some farming myths. We're going to spend the balance of our time in 3 and 4 here, how to select a farm. I've broken it down into 2 ways. One is kind of the simple way. It's a little more emotional. And it's a little more fun choosing that way. And then there's the nerd way, which is just a straight up dollars and cents view, where you should farm and where you shouldn't. So we'll cover both of those things. And then also when you found one, what do you do? And I have a couple of corny jokes mixed in here. So as always, so be prepared. So number 1, what is farming? Farm is a market segment. It's a narrow market area. Really, it's just a niche. And the thing is, if you can create a farm, you can create market domination and even world domination if you need to. So I think a big thing that people miss about farming is that they think, oh, if I work this farm or create this, that's all I'm going to work. And in reality is you're really going to create and narrow down and get really small and get really precise in one area, and that's going to allow you to grow your business bigger than ever before. So I honestly think everybody should have a farm. We're going to cover the 3 types of farms later. And if you're newer and you're on the call and you don't have a bunch of money and you don't want to just send out mass quantities of direct mail, I don't blame you. I'm going to share you some ways to avoid doing that or spending a bunch of money. And if you're already spending some money or doing that, we're going to talk about ways to enhance that a little bit. So I really think, though, that when everybody leaves here, I hate to say I'm giving you homework, but I would love it if everybody left here and decided that they were going to go after a farm and pick one and be able to start building this out. And it could be small. It might be 50 or 75 homes or a group of 100 people or a certain demographic. But I want you to leave here with one. So I'm going to give you a ton of ideas, and hopefully one of them sings to you that it's time for a farm. So there's really three types of farms, and I think this is where people go wrong. Number one is the obvious one. Where are they? A geographic farm. That's the one that everybody does. It's been around for 100 years. It's based on geographic lines or county lines or property lines. The two that no one really does. Number two is who are they? So the demographic farm. We'll talk about that a little more. And number three is what do they like? So what they call the psychographic farm. What do they do? What are their activities? That is a farm that you can create as well. And to me, number three is the most fun, because if you pick a group or you set up a group that's a certain psychographic farm that you like to work with, it's a lot easier to be able to enjoy it because it's something a space that you might play in or have fun in. So an example of that could be Palm Beach County golfers. So if you're someone that likes to golf on the side of real estate, you can create a psychographic farm that's all the golfers in Palm Beach County. So three gives you a little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor to have some fun and do some things on your own. So geographic, some examples of geographic. These are countries that people live in, states, counties, cities, zip codes, subdivisions, neighborhoods, communities, even down to a certain building or a certain street. So it could be a certain condo building. It might be one street or one little pocket of streets in a certain area. If you're going to go with the geographic route, the top couple are really broad and really big. And as you grow your business, you can. But really, you would start at the bottom. You would want to pick something as small as a street and maybe just start on one street and say, okay, I'm going to start farming 20 or 50 homes or 75 or 100, something small and manageable. I always like to tell people if they're going to start a geographic farm, I would like it to be something that you could comfortably door knock in a day. So if it's something that you couldn't handle one day a month door knocking, then it's probably too big for you to start. As you grow and as you scale, you can definitely get larger than that. But if you're really starting this and you really want to work it and get some value and deliver some value to people, I want you to be able to door knock it in one day. So keep that in mind. Next, who are they? The demographic farm. This is when we're talking age, gender, income, net worth, occupation, nationality, languages that they speak. This is when you're going to kind of target by a grouping of people. So some of you I know only work with Spanish-speaking buyers and sellers. Some of you work with people from a certain nationality. So maybe you came here from a certain country, so you want to work with people and do that as well. I have a couple friends that work the Dominican market, the Caribbean market, the Haitian market, where that's just where they spend their time because they followed that process. They already know about it. And they want to be able to help people kind of in that same path or in that same journey. And they have a really great experience path in that because they've done it themselves. So they know the pitfalls, what went good, what went bad, and they can help them. Next is the psychographic one. We talked a little bit about this earlier. What are people's interests, their hobbies, their lifestyles, their value, or even property types? So we'll dive into all three of these here. I want to tackle some farming myths and get these out of the way. You might call them limiting beliefs or myths, but I think some things that people have in their head about farming is really untrue. So I want to make sure we kind of tackle that. Number one, it takes too long and costs too much. And the truth is farming can really become the core of your business and it can be totally free. So I want you to get out of your head that the only way that you can farm is direct mail, because that is certainly an option. But let's be real, it's not cheap, right? If we're going to go out and send direct mail to a community of 500, if we're lucky, minimum, it's going to be $1 per postcard, with postage and everything like that. More likely it's going to be $1.25, $1.50. And the stat is that you have to do something for 18 months to really get the results you want to see. So if you're doing that once a month for 18 months at $500 a pop, you're into this thing for $9,000 before you start seeing results. And for all of us, I know that that's not an option. So I don't want you to think financially limiting that's the only option, because it's definitely not. Myth number two, somebody else already dominates that area. This actually, probably of all of them, is my favorite one, because one thing I find every time I do this exercise with people, or every time I teach or help someone discover a farm, they think, oh my God, this person dominates the area. And most of the time it's all perception. I don't know about you guys, but I get a postcard, at least one postcard a day from a realtor every single day. And because I'm nerdy and I teach and train and recruit and work with real estate agents all the time and have for years, I don't know about you guys, but the first thing I do is I go in a program called Broker Metrics and I look them up. And I want to see if they're really doing what it seems like they're doing on that postcard. And 98% of the time they're not. And I'm always kind of blown away by what the homeowners are thinking. But I also have to think, good for them. You know, they are getting out there and they're creating this perception. They're creating their reality that they're selling all these houses, and that's helping them to get more business. So, you know, if you think someone is dominant in your area, I really encourage you to look that up first. A general rule of thumb I like to follow is if someone has more than 25% of the business in a farm, it's probably not the best one to go after. But for the most part, they have way less than that. They usually get 1 or 2 or 3 deals a year. And that usually adds up to be somewhere between like 5 and 15% of a farm. So it's fair game. Next is going to be myth number 3. Farm limits you to that area or specialty, and it definitely doesn't. It doesn't have to be your only source of business. This just is going to be kind of one of your prongs or one of your branches off of your business for marketing, is we're going to attack one specific area, whether that's geographic, demographic, or psychographic. Number 4, it's all about mailers and mass marketing. The truth is it's kind of the synergistic impact of both of them. It's marketing and prospecting. Sometimes marketing with direct mail is good and it's helpful, but it's absolutely not mandatory. And one of the things that you definitely have to make sure that you're doing is prospecting on top of that as well. And most prospecting sources are free. It's just kind of blood, sweat, and tears and putting your time into it. And number 5, you can stop and start your farming efforts. And the truth is you can't. If you're going to do this and you're going to leave this call doing it, the reason that I ask you to start small is because it does need to be consistent. The stats are proven over and over and over again to really get results that you want and really get a good return on investment. You need to kind of be plugged into this thing for about 18 months. So if some of you guys are starting your journey today, you know, to really get a great return, it might be by the end of next year. Now, that doesn't mean this is all you're going to do for the next 18 months. It's just something that you're going to be consistent and persistent with. So we'll talk about some strategies at the end and some marketing ideas. We came up with a list of, 20 ideas or so for you to work on your farm, and pretty much all of them are free. So I'm going to share those with you guys at the end. All right, so how to select the farm, the simple way versus the nerd way. We're going to start with the simple way. There's a lot of funny pictures in here, and the reason I like some of them is I literally just typed in simple farmer, and that's the guy that came up. So he made me laugh, so he's in here. And you're going to see some other good ones later. So number 1, the simple way to start a farm. There's 10 or 11 here that we're going to talk about. Number 1 is your goals. So what are your goals based on your market share? Meaning how much market share do you want to capture? How many deals of all the deals that are done do you want to do and do you want to go in your name? How much gross closed income, GCI, how much money do you want to make? And number 3, or the third part of this, is what number of closed transactions you want to do. So that's really the first thing you need to do. You need to look at a farm and say, okay, what do I want to do? How much money do I want to make, or how much money do I need to make to be able to make this work? And we're going to start there. So number 1 is your goals. Number 2 is your budget. And instantly when I say budget, people always just go to money. Well, I have this much money to spend. Really, I think the more important part of budgeting is your time. And I think as real estate agents, that's not always something that we're strong with. We either say say yes to too many things and not saying no to enough, or we just don't do some things. So we have to really look at not only, okay, yes, do I have money to maybe send some postcards or do some marketing pieces? That's part of it. But what I really want you to think also is time. And we're going to do a little exercise later with time that you need to spend on a farm pretty regularly. And that might help you guys a little bit. But when you're thinking budget, I just don't want you always to go straight to the money thing. I want you to think time as well, because time is really valuable when we're time on task working a farm as well. Number 3, the size of the farm. What I like about farming is the option to start small. It gives you the ability to start just on one street, on one little village, on one building, in one little pocket. And then you can grow, if you're doing geographic, to adjacent streets or adjacent neighborhoods. It makes it easier to meet everybody. And it's the same with a group. What I like about the psychographic farming is, to use my golfer example from before, if you don't play golf, a pretty standard thing that golfers do is they set up a foursome, and that's kind of their foursome, and they play with those 4 people. However, there's always a day that one person's sick or can't play or can't make it or is busy or kids or family or whatever, and then they have to add a new person, right? So they add another person in there, and that instantly helps them kind of grow that group. It makes it easier to grow because that person most likely has a foursome and you can grow. So geographically or psychographically, it's pretty easy to grow a farm if you start it small. However, if I said, all right, I'm going to try and meet all the golfers in Palm Beach County in one weekend, it's impossible, right? You wouldn't even know where to start or how to handle that. So we can start small and grow. And sometimes small really leads us to a bigger business. So keep that in mind. Number 4, the accessibility or the location of the farm. So for geographic, are there existing geographic boundaries that we just can or cannot get in? The obvious one that I think of down here is a gate or some kind of security, right? We all want to do, some high-end multi-million-dollar neighborhood, but can you get in there? Do you have the ability to get in there physically because of things like a gate or a river or a body of water or something that's blocking you? Can you actually get in there and work it? And if you can't, if you don't know somebody in there, you can't weasel your way in there, you're not really going to be able to service this at a high level. And also when we think about the psychographic farms, how easy is it for us to get into that group? So the golf example, we could probably go to Drive Shack and find somebody that looks like they're good at golf and strike up a conversation. If there's 200 people there, there's a good chance that you can work your way into one of these groups just by talking to people. There might be some ease of entry there. However, every group is not always that easy to break into. Number 5, the number of haven't mets versus mets. And what I mean by this is how many people do you know in that group or in that neighborhood and how many people do you not know? We want to try to break into something that we have an entryway or we have an easy way to get in. So if you think of a neighborhood and your best friend or even yourself or a family member lives in the neighborhood that you want to farm, you have a constant easy way to get in. But if you have no way to get in this neighborhood, it's a problem. Same with groups. If I wanted to get into golfers of Palm Beach County, I know a couple people that play golf and I'd probably start there. And I'd want to start working with those guys and figuring it out. However, if I wanted to get in to be, let's say, the official realtor of the Miami Dolphins, I don't know any Dolphins players. I don't know anybody that works at the stadium. Most likely, they're not just going to let me cold call them and all of a sudden be their realtor. There's a good chance that I'm not just going to go knock on their door and walk in there and get to talk to all the players. So I don't have any Mets in there. So for me, that wouldn't be an easy group to be able to break in. So when you're analyzing this, part number 5 here is if you don't have any Mets in the group, it's probably not the best idea. Number 6, the average sales price. So whatever the average sales price in there, will this support your goals? So if you're saying that you want to make $200,000 and the average sales price of a home in a certain neighborhood is $200,000 and you want to make $200,000, commission-wise, we're only maybe making $5,000 on each deal. Is it possible that you are going to sell 40 homes in there based on farming or not? A lot of people make such an emotional decision based on farming and they look at it and they say, oh, I really would like to live in there or it's easy. But if you sell all the houses that sell in there and you still can't break even or be positive, there's no return there. So we have to look at what that average sales price is. Number 7, probably the most important of all of these, your turnover rate, your market conditions, and your current trends. So the national average for turnover is about 4% in a neighborhood. You don't want to work a farm that really is less than 10%, because if there's not at least 10% of people turning over, it's going to make it where there's just a fight for business, right? Every day, if you ever watch the Realtor Board statistics of number of agents, or every week rather, it updates, and it just goes up. It's gone up every year since the bottom of the bottom, like since 2008, it's gone up every year. There's 40,000 something agents that work just our area. So if there's not enough turnover in there, you're just going to be scraping and fighting for 1s and 2s, and that's not that great. Next is you want to look at expired listings. A lot of people don't do this when they look at comps or when they understand a farm. They just look at, okay, how many do I think are in the community? They do a guess or they call the HOA and they find out, and they say, okay, great, how many are active and how many have sold in here? But they don't look at expired. And the key thing to look at is expired, because those are people that got in the game and they failed or they lost. And we want to know that if I'm going to go and work on this area and spend money and spend my time, are there a lot of people that are failing in there? And if so, are they just failing because of price? Is that something we can overcome? Or are they failing because people aren't moving there? People don't want to live there. Or something bad is happening where people are flocking out. You'll see this a lot of times with condo buildings or buildings by the beach, where all of a sudden in a couple of weeks, you'll see every unit in the place go for sale, or you'll see 25% of them go for sale instantly. And it's usually because there's an assessment coming, or some kind of big payoff, or some kind of litigation with the condo association. So we need to look at this and see how many people failed and how many expireds are there before we decide if we want to dive in. Next, the days on the market. So when we look at days on the market, we have to see if there's not a lot of turnover time-wise, how long are we going to take this? If we do all this work and spend all this money and knock all these doors and make all these calls and build this social media profile, and we go in there and houses take 300 days on average to sell, are we going to make any money in there? Who's buying in the area? So where are people moving from? What's happening there? Is money moving to that area? Is there development going on in the area? Is there a change with the schools? We want to do some research up here. When we're looking on there and seeing, are things getting developed? Is money being spent? Are people trending into this neighborhood or out? What's happening? So number 7 is real big when you're deciding on a farm. Number 8, the motivation. So if it's geographic, it's what is their reason to get in or out of there? And if it's psychographic, why do these people want to do this? So if it's the golf, for example, why do they want a condo on the golf course? I get it just to play golf, but is it a second home, or is it to reduce membership fees, or what is it? And is it realistic? Are they motivated? Is this something that they need to do? So a lot of us like to work the higher end space and the higher end homes, and that's great. And it's always nice to get a big fat check. But we used to really focus our farm efforts on like the sub $400,000 homes. And the reason for that was they're turning all the time. If the market's up, down, left, right, or sideways, it doesn't matter. People need to buy and sell houses in those price ranges, where in the multi-million-dollar range, they don't, right? A lot of people sit on those assets or they don't move as much. And in membership communities and beach condos and stuff like that, it's not always an easier sell. So what is really the motivation for people coming in, coming out, and investing in there? Number 9, the competition. I want you to think market share versus mind share. And in the example I was sharing you earlier with the postcards, who has the mind share in there and who really has the market share, and is there room for growth in both of them? So a lot of times I look at some of these neighborhoods that people are working, and I even think, okay, I've been in the area for a while. I do a lot of research on real estate and, who we get title deals from and how we get the title and where are these deals coming from. And I like to look at it and think, okay, if I was a seller in that neighborhood, who is on the top of my mind? Who are the people that I see in there all the time? And who really also has the market share. So one of the ways you can understand the mind share is who on social media is pushing it, who has videos of it on YouTube. If you know anybody in the area, who's getting postcards that live there. And then when you look at market share, you can look it up on the MLS, right? And see what neighborhood or who's buying and selling there. You can ask your team leader, your broker, your owner, whoever you work with, if they have broker metrics, and see who's selling, in certain spots or in certain cities, and be able to really find this out, to be able to really understand, do I have an at-bat in there? And again, if one agent owns, more than 25% of that market share that's happening in that neighborhood, it might not be the best spot for you to go, because you're just then fighting for 75% with the whole rest of the gang. Number 10, you're fit for the farm. So can I relate to this farm? Can I fit in with them? Do I match? I'm not going to go farm the knitting society because I don't fit in there, right? I'm not going to go farm the the 55 plus community because I'm not one of them. They're not going to view me as one of them. So I just want you to think of that. How do you fit in these farms? Does your lifestyle match their lifestyle? Are you in there regularly? Are you willing to be in there regularly? So I might do better in a downtown Delray Beach where I like to go and hang out and ride my bike and have a beer and eat some lunch or some dinner. I fit in there, right? Because that's where I want to go. That's where I am a lot. That's where I hang out. That's where I want to be. However, the 55 plus condo community where I'm not in often, I might not be the best fit for. So you need to look into this, not only from the geographic, side of farming, but you need to think, if I select this as my farm, am I willing to go there every day? Am I willing to sit by the pool there? Am I willing to hang out with people in there? I'm not sure if Anne-Marie Lucido was on the call, but she does something, or I know now with COVID, it's tough, but she used to do this thing that I liked. She was doing a farm area that she worked, and she would do, I forget what she called it. It was like morning mimosa and muffins or something. It was a great idea. She would just hang out in her farm area at the clubhouse in the morning with mimosas and muffins and just hang out and talk to everybody that was in there. So it was a good idea because she wanted to be in there. She actually liked being in there. She enjoyed that. If that was me, I wouldn't want to sit there every Saturday morning. So I wouldn't fit. I wouldn't be a good fit. But for her, she liked that, and that helped her do better in that farm. So I think it's a great idea.
I'm on the call.
There you go. I don't know if you're still doing that, but it's a cool idea. I remember when you told me about that.
Not now, because the pool's closed.
Sure. Well, it's a good idea. So people, think of things like that. If you're someone that hangs out at the community pool every weekend anyway, you can be on purpose about that and turn it into business, doing something that you like to do anyway. So great idea on that one. So some popular farms that people choose: a certain neighborhood, a certain condo building, a specific generation of people, the generation, whatever the letters are, X, Y, Z, baby boomer, people born in a certain place. So, if you came from another country, another state, another city, how are you moving there? second home buyers, so people that are buying their second home down in Florida, a certain type of investment buyer, so maybe you want to farm people that are flipping 55 and up communities, or long-term investing in Wellington multifamily or things like that. Luxury homes, referral pockets. What I mean by referral pockets is a certain area that people are regularly moving from. So on the East Coast here, we get a lot of the Northeastern people moving down, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. On the West Coast, it's more the Midwest, right? It's like Pennsylvania, Ohio, those kind of areas. So single buyers, so people that are buying their first home as a single person, just married buyers, pet owners, that's like a whole niche right now, popular communities that are good for pets. Student housing, so we have a lot of that down in Florida because of all the universities, throughout all the towns that we work. Waterfront buyers, maybe people that are buying for a certain lifestyle, boating or kayaking or paddleboarding or whatever. Golf course communities, first-time home buyers. These are all some farms that we can kind of start to attack. All right, now how to select a farm the nerd way. When I typed in nerd farmer on Google, that's what came up. I have no idea what makes that person a nerd farmer. I'm guessing it's the glasses, but I'm not sure what the red hashtags all over the person mean, but that apparently is a nerd farmer. So we're going to go with the nerd way. And this is where I was saying earlier that I think there's going to be some people on the call that might want this. So some of you, I've taught this before and I've worked this before, but I just wanted to kind of share you this spreadsheet. And again, if you want it, reach out to Dave Ward, Gab Bryce, Melissa Kidwell, Tracy Cinder, and myself, and we'd love to hop on a call with you, show you how it works. I built this spreadsheet out for us, I don't know, years ago, 2012 maybe, 2011, 12, 13, something like that, to really be able to analyze a farm. So when I say the nerd way, I say that kind of jokingly because I kind of am a nerd, but it really is just the business way. It's the way to look at this in black and white, in dollars and cents, and not be emotionally attached to someone or something or some area. And this spreadsheet really does that for you. It really makes it work for you, so you don't have to worry about, am I going to make an emotional decision and work this neighborhood because I like the houses or the street's cute or I live by it or whatever. So the purpose of this spreadsheet is to be able to put in the hard data and spit out some numbers and see if any of this works. I know earlier I said we want to target farms that turn over at 10%. If it's not a minimum of at least 6, we can't even consider it if we're going this way. So what you'll see is what you would do. These are some examples of neighborhoods that people are working that just gave me numbers to spit in. So in Meadowood, for example, there's 337 total homes in that farm. In the past 12 months, there was 30 in there. So that turnover rate is 8.9%. So pretty good. It's not the 10% that we want. It is above 6, and it's pretty good. The average sales price is what I really like in there. Average sales price, $582 and change. Is a good chunk of money in there. So average days on market, 92. So that means that every 3 months, these houses turn over. So you can turn your money 4 times a year in there, which is pretty great for a farm. Current homes listed today, 6 active homes on the market. The capture rate goal, again, is 10%. So that means we want to capture at least 10% of the business that's in there. That's just a minimum kind of the goal we put in there. You can adjust this inside the spreadsheet and make it 20 or 25, however much business you want to capture. But for me, if I wanted to capture a minimum 10%, that means I would need to take 3 listings in there. And this spreadsheet does all the math for you. So again, if you get this from us, or if you want it, we'll send it to you, or you just plug the numbers in. You don't have to be a math or Excel wizard. I did all the work for you, so it's easy. My average commission means if I sold the house at that price, I usually base it on 2.75% because I know we don't always all get 3%. So I would make $16,000. If I did actually 3 deals, which was the target over the course of the year, that farm would generate me $48,000. A simple rule that we always use is whatever you are earning, you want to spit 10% back into lead generation. So that number would be about $4,800 monthly. That breaks down to $400. So when we look at this and really try to analyze the budget, we think, okay, if I'm going to do a 12 direct, which just means 12 pieces of direct mail, and I'm going to do that at $1 each, and there's 337 homes, it would cost me $337 a month, which leaves from my budget $63. So I'd be in the black there, right? I'd be positive. That would be a good one. When we move over to College Park, you see a little bit different of an example. And the reason that I kind of went with these two is because we see good and bad, or we see pass and fail on what we should be doing. When we look at College Park, 544 homes available in the farm, 37 successful sales in the past 12 months. So more homes, more sales, but turnover is a little less, right? 6.8%. When we dive into average price point here, it's over $150,000 cheaper. So basically what that just did to us is gave us a pay cut, right? The only way really to just improve your money in real estate is sell a higher price point. It's either sell more units or sell a higher price point. So right there, we gave ourselves a pay cut. Average days on the market, it's 40 days more. So that adds over a month to our turnaround. So now instead of turning our money 4 times a year, we're only turning it 3 times, actually a little less than 3 times a year. Current homes listed today, 16. And then when we do the numbers again, 10%, I would need to take 3.7 listings for this to make any sense. Average commission on this one goes way down, $5,000 less. So my budget is less. And when I look at what it would take for me to actually spend money in there and do it correctly, it would cost me about $550 a month. And based on my budget, if everything went the way I planned, I'd actually be in the red. The parentheses means you're a negative. So this one probably is not the best farm to go after because you're setting yourself up and looking at it that it's not going to be the profit or the return that I want. So again, if you guys want this sheet, this is something that I made and I'm willing to share. So reach out to any of us at Trident Performance or Synergy. Reach out to Dave Ward, Melissa Kidwell, Gab Bryce, Tracy Cinder, and myself, and we will get this to you guys today. I know it's a little nerdy and it's a little more in-depth probably than some people wanted to talk about today, but it really helps you make a business decision on a farm. And at the end of the day, we are in real estate to make money. So, it's a profit thing. This is also a great time to just kind of plug our app. And I know we've talked about it, and we've done some classes about it in the past, but part of what we're going to talk about coming up here is marketing pieces and different great ideas on things you can do with your farm. And if you want to attack this socially instead of with direct mail, our app has a fantastic content creation section that's going to allow you to do that. So if you look at these numbers and it kind of scares you and you think, oh my God, I can't spend $540 a month on postcards, you can spend free on the app and we can get you on there and get you set up on that. So either way, reach out. Some pros and cons. The simple way is a little more fun. That was those 10 questions. You just ask yourself those 10 questions and you make a decision. The cons are that it's emotional, and emotional is not always the best business decision to make because you're making it because you like it or because there's cute houses or you live there or you want to live there. So it's not always the best ROI. The nerd way, the pros are that it's math-based, it's not emotional, and it's a good return on investment. The cons are it's a ton of prep work. So building out that spreadsheet was a lot, but you have to do a lot of legwork as well to even plug numbers into that spreadsheet. And you're constantly researching and reevaluating. And real quick, you go from being that high I person that just says, I want to be in real estate because I love houses. And you're kind of forced into being a business person. So for a lot of us, that's good. And for some of us, I know that's not so attractive or entertaining. So definitely pros and cons for both of them. Nothing right or wrong, just 2 strategies. All right, last section. I found one. Now what? What am I going to do now that I found one? I made a decision on a farm, whether it's the simple way or the nerd way. I know I'm going to be sending this deal to Trident Performance or Synergy when I do sell it, but I found one. So what do I do now? I've got to dive in. My favorite graphic of the whole class, and I realize it says Shutterstock on there. It's because I couldn't get in to buy it because it's an all image. However, I typed in farming exercise, and this image came up, and it really made me laugh. And every time I see it, it still makes me laugh. So I wanted to use it anyway. So this is a farming exercise. And I want you guys, if you have a farm already that you're working, I want you to either write this one down or take a picture or a screenshot or whatever. You can watch the recording after. But this is a really good quick exercise to kind of help you budget your time if you don't want to spend money on a farm. So what you would do is when you discover a farm, you look at it and you say, okay, there are, I don't know, 120 homes in the farm that I've came up with. Now, this is if we want to go door knocking. So we're going to think, okay, if I'm going to door knock this, instead of spending money on the postcards, I have 120 homes in my farm. I'm going to multiply that by 3 because a good farmer will take about 3 minutes to harvest his crop or to work his crop. It's about 1 minute walking from home to home, a minute to a minute and a half, at that home, talking to that person, building a relationship, and then a minute to a minute and a half out. So let's say 3 minutes total. So if I had 120 homes in my farm, multiply that by 3, and now it takes me 360 minutes to walk this farm. If I divide that by 60 for number of minutes, that leaves me with 6 hours, right? So that means I have to do 6 hours of door knocking every single month if I want to be able to tackle this whole farm efficiently every month. And then if I divide that by 4, meaning I want to tackle a little bit of it every week, I'm looking at about 1.5, right? So I spend 1.5 hours door knocking per week. So that's just a quick little farming exercise that you should be doing every time you decide if you're going to start a new geographic farm. And then when you get to that number and it's 1.5 hours door knocked per week, maybe it's 2 hours or 4 hours or whatever it is for you, that has to go right onto your calendar. We need to go really quickly and just say, okay, I need to throw that on my calendar every week and know that I'm going to be door knocking for that time every week if I'm really serious about building this farm. So, ways to become your farm expert for free. Number one, create a property search for yourself. If you guys aren't already doing this on the MLS, you're really missing out. You know, this is a free thing that the MLS allows us to research our inventory and know it better than anybody else. I do this for flips all the time, and we used to do this for every one of our farm areas. You want to create a search, save yourself on an auto search for whatever neighborhood or zip code or area or community or subdivision or street that you're doing, and set the alerts to ASAP so that it sends you an alert every time something happens in that farm. So is there a new listing? Did something go under contract? Did it go pending? Was there a price reduction? Was it canceled? Was it expired? Any farm that you want to work, this is imperative. It's free. You know, you guys already have the tool. It's very easy to do. It's just like you would do for a buyer. So step number one is mandatory. Number two, review all the sold properties history. If you're going to really work a geographic farm, I want you to think, okay, I need to know these properties, not just the numbers. I need to look at the pictures and understand what's going on in them, especially for at least the last year. Number three, search past expireds and FSBOs and then call them. So look back over the last year, and if you're working this farm, see if anybody expired in there or is trying to FSBO in there and attack them right away. Number four, preview current listings. So are there any listings on the market that I can go look at? And if you're new and you don't have a farm area or you're experienced and you're trying to break into a farm, get your boots on the ground. Get out there and see the houses that are available in that farm. Number five, walk the neighborhood and door knock. We talked about that with the farming exercise, right? Number six, know the competition and their marketing. So if you see other people competing in there and regularly getting deals, I want you to go on their website. I want you to call their phone number. I want you to look them up in the MLS. I want you to find them on social media. See what they're doing and figure out how you can beat them. And everybody has a way that you can beat them, even if they're the number one agent in that farm. Everybody has something that we can do, right? We can offer more service. We can offer better marketing, better packages. You can do something to be better than them. There's always a way to innovate and be better. Number seven, know the community. So what's going on in the community? What are the amenities? What days does the trash get picked up? The recycling. How do you get to the pool? Do they have any events in there? When are their board meetings? All those things. Number eight, send personal note cards to anybody you know or meet in there. Number nine, hold open houses in there even if you don't have listings. Do anything you can to ask the listing agents, even if they're not with your same company. Give them a call and ask them. One tip with open houses, if they're not your company or if you don't know them, I always like to look for open houses with agents that are listed from out of area. So if you're in Palm Beach and you notice that the listing code is AX and they're a Miami agent, there's a good chance they don't feel like driving up to Palm Beach Gardens to do a listing or Jupiter to do an open house. So give them a call and just say, hey, Joe Smith, I know I'm with XYZ Realty and you're with ABC Realty, but I saw you have a vacant listing at 123 Main Street and it's in my farm area. Figured you didn't want to drive up this weekend, so I was wondering if you'd let me do it. They're almost never going to say no because you're giving them the opportunity to sell the house. They don't have to do any work. So there's really no reason for them to say no. Number 10, join the local organizations or attend the local events. So if you're working a neighborhood that has bingo every Wednesday and poker every Saturday and, family fun day every Sunday, whatever it is, you need to be there if you're going to plug in there. And number 11, become the king or queen of local social media. So create a page for that neighborhood or for people that live in there or people to look moving into there. Create a YouTube channel based on that neighborhood. Create an Instagram, a Snapchat, a Twitter, a TikTok, or whatever you want to create or build. Do it and give it a local flair, something that's going to happen in there to make them realize that you're plugged in and you know that community. Some tips, be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Don't just think I need to go out there and spend a whole boatload of money and just market and then leads are going to fall in my lap. We still need the prospect. We still need to make calls, door knock, and talk to people. Your reputation is going to come via those relationships. So get your butt in that neighborhood, get your boots on the ground, and just start talking to people. Work smarter, not harder. Figure out what you can do to attack them in a larger scale. Find your bird dogs. What I mean by bird dogs is the person that you have a good relationship in there, someone that you're kind of sending out into the field to retrieve for you. So if you know someone good in this neighborhood, get them talking to their friends and their neighbors and help them find out, when the neighbor down the street 4 houses over says they want to sell, make sure they get connected to you as quick as possible. Be where your customers are. That's what we talked about with Anne Marie's example, right? Be in there Saturday morning at the pool. Build the trust and recognition. Market your listings aggressively to people in there. Do the circle prospecting. Call around in that area and tell them you have someone that's looking to get out of that neighborhood. Who do they know that's looking to get into it? Concentrate your open house efforts specifically on that neighborhood or that subdivision or that building. Host a seminar or a class that's just for that area. So maybe you're farming a neighborhood of 200 homes. Do an investing seminar for only the people in that neighborhood and help someone in there buy their first investment property. Join the local organizations. We talked about that. Get to know the renters and the landlords, not just the homeowners. A lot of people skip out on knowing the renters. In a lot of these neighborhoods, sometimes they're 40% tenants. Get to know them because they're going to move around either inside the community or eventually become buyers. And also their boots on the ground every day, where the landlord or the owner might not even live there, might not even live in the state. So the renters a lot of times are the way in. Contact every single FSBO and expired listing. We talked about that. And create a local flavor for your marketing, something that's just local and specific to that neighborhood. This isn't for your marketing to everybody. It's just when you're attacking that one area. Last but not least, some marketing ideas, always coming from a place of contribution, but here are some things that you can give out or you can do or you can build that are totally free. So if you have no ideas or have no clue what the heck to do, if you want to attack a farm area, here's some things. A sales report, create a directory of the neighborhood, something to give, something of value to give them. Organize a neighborhood yard sale, start a website just for that neighborhood. Create a neighborhood email or Facebook group or a blog, somewhere that everyone in that neighborhood can go to look at what's going on in there. Do a newsletter, a market update. Send out some testimonials, not just of your real estate business, but also of other business owners that live in that community. So if Joe, at house number 4 in the community owns a power washing business, get some testimonials from him and help him grow in that community, because right back, he's going to help you as well. Figure out some just listed, some just sold. Share them your marketing plan. So what do you do specifically to get a home sold? How many points are in your marketing plan? What do the school calendars look like? Send out some business cards. Send them a CMA. Offer them some home inspection advice. Share them your website info, your open house plan. So what does it look like when you do an open house? Send them a seminar invite, some holiday cards, some sports calendars, some wanted letters. Who do you have that's looking in that community? Send them a wanted notice. All right, folks, go out and get rich by working your farm. As always, if you have any questions, I'm going to stay on. I'll hang on here. And we do ask that coming up, you join us for some other great things. Thursday, we have Better Call Paul with our attorney, Paul Krasker. That is going to be Thursday at 4 o'clock, live question and answer. And then next Monday, 1 week from today, we're doing what it takes to turn phone calls into appointments. This is going to be a lot about scripting, a lot about strategies, a lot about what to say on the phone, who to say it to, how often to say it, when to call. So anybody that has some leads coming in or wants to get any better on the phone, this is for you. So that's everybody. As always, keep sending us the deals, please. We love it that you guys are supporting us at Trident Performance and Synergy. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. Thank you, as always, to my whole gang that's on the call, John, Chrissy, Dave, Melissa, Gab, Trace. Appreciate you all. If you haven't already, follow us and subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube so you can learn from us on there. And we will see y'all next week. If you have any questions, hang on for a bit. And if not, we will see you soon. Sell some houses, send us some deals, and have a great day.